Well, good morning. It is Friday, December 18th, and we are gathered for a morning devotion, and again coming from Walter Bergerman, Celebrating Abundance. This is entitled Under New Management, and from Isaiah chapter 65, verse 17. For I am about to create new heavens and a new earth. The former things shall not be remembered or come to mind. Let me speak about the new heaven. That may seem strange and removed to you, and if it does not seem strange and irrelevant here, it does seem so almost everywhere else, for almost everyone, believer and unbeliever. For almost everyone assumes that heaven is either closed or empty or irrelevant. That is, almost everyone assumes that the God question is closed and empty. Conservatives tend to think the God question is long ago settled and not need to be reconsidered. And so we read the catechisms. Liberals tend to think the God question is irrelevant and so leave that to someone else while we care for the less fortunate. But isn't it strange that this poet uses his precious poetic gifts to speak of a new heaven? And he does so in a time of despair and stress in his community, when you would have thought he would do other things to do. But he takes that as his proper task. The newness that must be acknowledged is the bold recognition that we have to do with a new God. Unlike any of the conventional gods who run the empire or who at least accommodate the empire, you know who must people think is in charge of heaven. Most people think that God in heaven is a self-serving consumer capitalist who, in his self-efficiency, is entitled to have and take and devour as long as he wants, with his insatiable appetite. And we order ourselves and run our economy on earth in the image of that God. The problem of earthly poverty will not be effectively overcome until the idol that justifies and legitimizes greed as a cosmic reality is crushed to death. The news of the Bible is that the new power governs from on high, and the policies of that God are at the edge of fulfillment on earth. I dare say to you that this poem is about as relevant as we can get. For it affirms to us that the current contrived that makes some rich at the expense of others is a momentary convenience. The convenience needs not endure. Finally, it will end because God has set in motion, soon or late, promises that will be kept. We go cold and cynical, and we forget. But it is so. We are not conformers to this age, but we are the ones who gamble towards a new age of justice. Whew. That was a mouthful. Sorry about all of that. That was just a really tough read in all of this. So under new management, so what he is saying is that, the things of this earth are what we think God is about. We think that, some people think that God is in heaven, and he uses these words, being a self-serving consumer capitalist who is self-sufficient and who is entitled to have and to take and to devour all that he wants with this insatiable appetite. That God just wants to take from all of his people. And he says, and that idea is how we run our earth. That is how we run our world. In this consumer capitalism, self-sufficiency, entitled to have and to take all that we want. And he's saying that is completely the opposite of what our God is about. The new management is about a God who wants to bring a new age of justice, who wants to end poverty and get rid of the controls of power and money. Our God brings new management to offer us love and peace and hope and joy. That's the new management that God brings, and that's completely different than the powers of the world bring. And so that is what he's trying to get at in this really difficult read. And so he ends with this prayer. Sooner or late, we know your promise will be kept, O God. We know that the new earth follows in the wake of your new heaven, so that we wait with eager longing Keep us attentive to your rule. Empower us to overcome unjust controversies and gamble towards your newness. Amen.